My name is Mustafa Jurel, Liberian Journalist.
James Sidley, formerly LPS. Lamo Robinson, formerly LPS, and currently Liberian Telecommunications Authority as Communications Officer.
Sections of the President of the Association of
So I
Liberian
did it.
Journalists.
Former Secretary General of President and former President of the President of Liberia. Sibo Mapayan, formerly Liberian Communications Network, and
Place here at
He was the Washington, formerly of the Power Newspaper, currently Assistant Minister of Public Affairs, Minister of Foreign Affairs.
It's a professional institution. We're having a brief meeting here today. That's the business section.
I'm Jackson T.S. Seaton, formerly
Introductions
of the Foreign Newspaper.
members, currently here.
Morning, Akai Ability Bleeding, formerly of the Infinity Corporation, Power FM, Power TV.
All right, this introduction is still going around. Officials, press.
My name is Lisa Brown, member of Feature.
Okay, there you have it.
What is feature?
Female Journalists Association of Liberia.
All right. And that's
Benjamin Z. Carter, former Liberian journalist.
There you have it. Amen.
Joe Ted, formerly of Star Radio, now with the newspenico.com.
Newspaper.com. Mr. Joe is there. They're making an introduction. This is actually the business section. That's actually the business section here.
Good morning. Cesar Potter, a board member of the Delaware chapter of ALJA and a former LCN.
Okay,
Report.
that's Mr. Zizabadet introducing himself. Let's see here.
My name is Gadi Vani Woodson, formerly of NADA and Liberia Broadcasting System, and outgoing Secretary General of ALJA.
All right. Yes, from there's an introduction of our ALJA members.
And Alfonso Yena, the LCM Radio Veritas, Justice and Peace Commission, Election Commission Chair for ALJA for this current elections that hopefully will be held today.
All right, that's Mr. Yena right there introducing himself. So pretty well, that seems to be the case here. This is a business section.
Thank you.
Professional institutions with different groups.
Thank you all for the introduction. So what we're going to do right now is to read and adapt the program, the rest of the program for today, the Work for Our Business session. So if you have your program, please just go through your program quickly. Let's go through it together. So after the reading and adoption of the program, we have a chapter's report from the Minnesota chapter, as well as the Delaware Valley chapter. We have the presentation of the ALJA's website by the Vice President. There will be our annual report by the National President. That will be followed by statements from the PUL President, from the Female Journalists Association of Liberia, from the Minnesota Council of Press and Public Affairs at the MRC of Liberia, Washington, D.C. And then there will be a selection of the Resolutions Committee. After we select the Resolution Committee, we'll have deliberation on critical media and political matters to be led by President Sandy. And the topics we intend to discuss today include, of course, our theme for this year's convention, the rule of law, recipe for stable and peaceful Liberia. We'll also talk about government and media relations or relationship post-election, ALJA's challenges, vision, and future. We'll take a break, a lunch break, and then we'll have our second session, which will be the session where we have our elections, and that session will be chaired by the chairman of the Elections Commission. And then we'll select the 2018 convention venue. We'll read and adopt the convention resolution we'll have our vote on things by Mr. Samuel Abu, a member of the board of directors of ALJA. That's our program outline for today. What I want us to do now is to adapt the program as just read. So I will entertain a motion to adapt the program. Yeah, Charles?
All right. Yes.
Mr. Moderator, if I can obtain a second, I move that this agenda for this convention be adopted and form part of our record.
Can I have a second?
There's a motion that been filed.
The second, so it was moved by Mr. Charles Crawford and seconded by Mr. Jackson Seaton that the agenda for our convention deliberation be deliberated as read.
So that means discussion will be going ahead as planned.
So we'll just go right into the chapter report.
So I see here, President Moses.
Unfortunately, and I just heard yesterday that our chapter chairman, when I say our, I come from Minnesota, so Mr. Patrick Kuhlman, who is our chapter chairman, had to cancel at the very last minute. He had already paid for his flight, booked his hotel and everything else, but he had a family emergency for which he had to cancel. So the president asked me, since I'm the only representative from Minnesota who's here, to just do a summary report. So let me just say up front that this is not an official report from the chapter, right? I was not sanctioned by Mr. Kuhlman, but because I live there and I'm executive of the chapter, so I will just do a summary overview of the chapter. So I just wrote something brief and I'll read to you all. It says, I bring you warm greetings on behalf of Mr. Patrick Kuhlman, chairman of the local chapter, Midwest chapter of ALJA, as well as the rest of the officers and members of the chapter. Let me state that this is not a formal statement, as I said earlier. Mr. Kuhlman, the chapter chairman, unfortunately could not be here today because of some family emergency. Because I'm privy to a lot of the information of the chapter, I just want to give an overview of where I think they are and some of the challenges they're currently going through right now. And these are really my candid and personal views reflecting the activities of the chapter. Last year, when we came over to the convention, the chapter set for itself a number of goals. And one of the very ambitious goals it set for itself was to begin a really rigorous membership drive. The goal was to recruit as many members as possible from within Minnesota and the rest of the Midwest, to include Iowa, the Dakotas, and surrounding states. Because we realized that in the Midwest, we do have a substantial number of Liberian journalists residing in those places. And if done right, and that was the goal, the chapter over there could very well be the most vibrant chapter. Unfortunately, that plan did not materialize because of some internal issues within the chapter, and that is something they're still working to achieving during the course of this year. Another goal the chapter set was to host a mini convention. So the goal was to go out there, recruit as many members as possible, and then do a mini convention of all journalists in the Midwest. There were a number of dates set. Those dates kept moving because of other activities that were unfolding at the time. And so the plan has not actualized yet, and I'm sure the leadership of the chapter is still working to bring that to fruition. One of the things the chapter was partly successful in doing was to really start going out in the community, making itself more visible by being active participants in local community and humanitarian efforts. So if different events were taking place, say if the chapter or county organization were hosting an event that was catering to maybe assisting maybe Sano County in Liberia, the chapter would get involved. So anything of that nature, the chapter will get involved. So that way it is more visible to people in the state. And we think with visibility, we'll attract more members, not necessarily the journalists, but others who see ALJA as doing something that is worth identifying with will come and join the chapter. So they've been fairly successful in doing that. Hopefully, like I said, it will be something that will benefit the chapter in the months and years to come. But currently, I think right now the chapter requires, I think, some serious reorientation as far as the leadership is concerned. There has to be a serious infusion of dynamism, a serious infusion of commitment for the chapter to really take that leap to the next level. And so that's what I think the chapter is right now. We have some really wonderful people. Mr. Kume is obviously the acting chairman. Manike Shaw Giddens is our vice chair. Mr. Tanya, who served at one time as President of Public Affairs at the legislative branch, is our Secretary General. Sarah McGee is our Assistant Secretary. Marisa is our treasurer. So they have a really good team down in Minnesota, and we can achieve a lot, like I said, given the number of journalists in Minnesota, as long as we continue to go together and do some really tweaking as far as our leadership is concerned. So again, let me say those are my honest, candid views from Minnesota, and I will now yield to Mr. Jackson Seaton as he comes and present an overview from the Delaware Valley chapter.
Thank you.
Again, good morning, everybody. I bring you warm greetings from the Delaware Valley chapter of ALJA. As you all know, I am the president of the Delaware Valley chapter of ALJA. My vice president is Mr. Piro Besa. My secretary general is Stanley McGill. My treasurer is Ephibian Brown. She's not here with us, but I'm sure she's on her way coming. She was at the meeting last night. Well, when last year we were elected and we were subsequently inducted into office during the last convention. Upon our induction into office, we embarked on a series of activities, foremost of which is the rebuilding of our membership base. We began to reach out to our former colleagues in the tri-state area, and as a matter of fact, the Delaware Valley chapter includes former Liberian journalists that reside in the state of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. So we embarked upon the process of, getting in touch with all of these fine gentlemen and ladies, to encourage them to come on board so that, we can rebuild the Delaware Valley chapter. We have had a series of meetings, and we have done a series of reach out, and that has paid off. Right now, I can speak to the fact that we have identified and we have recruited about 50 former Liberian journalists that are in the tri-state area who are members of the Delaware Valley chapter. Our goal is to ensure that all of those other journalists who are sitting on the fence, our goal is to encourage them, to reach out to them, so that they can come and be a part of this wealthy organization. As you all know, ALJA, I would say, is an offspring of the Press Union of Liberia. So that is our goal. And in the meantime, while we are rebuilding our chapter, we were given the mandate to appoint a member from our chapter to serve on the ALJA board. We successfully recruited the Reverend Dr. Zeze Bade and we nominated him to the ALJA pool. So he's currently the Delaware Valley chapter representative to the ALJA pool. So we have done that. Also, while we were still rebuilding our chapter, and we are still rebuilding it, we were given the mandate to organize this annual convention. And we went to work again with the national leadership. We planned, and as you can see, we are now executing this convention. I want to give my thanks and appreciation to the national leadership, especially Mr. Moses D. Sandy, who has worked tirelessly with us so that we can have this convention. So, Mr. President, in spite of all of these successes, we have enormous challenges. One of the challenges to come to regular meetings so that we can, deliberate and make this Delaware Valley chapter second to none. Because prior to the disintegration of ALJA several years back, the Delaware Valley chapter was the pillow of ALJA. And our goal is to maintain that status, to make the Delaware Valley chapter the pillow of ALJA. But we have been facing serious challenges. The lack of cooperation of our members. We call meetings, we reach out, they say we'll come, we go to meetings sometimes, we have about 6, we have about 7, but then we plan another meeting, then the people that were in the previous meeting, they don't show up, new group of people show up. So as a result of this, we have not been able, we need to establish various committees. We need a membership committee, we need Ways and Means committee, and we need our different other committees that we will be able to put into place that will be able to work along with the leadership for us to really move this chapter forward. So that's our challenge. But we know it is a challenge, and we are working, doing everything within our power to meet up with those challenges. And one of the things we have started doing is to have what we call regular SIP. Because we Liberians, we know very well that we can easily congregate around food and drinks. And it's not only Liberians, human nature as a whole. We always like to congregate around food and drinks. So we have decided to start having a couple of SIPs. That is, this month, we identified one of our members' residents. We send out the information. We all go there, and then, we eat free food, we buy the drinks, and then, we talk and we reminisce about Liberia, and we discuss how best we can rebuild our chapter. We had the first SIP at our Secretary General house, not the Secretary General, but the Treasurer house. And to have the second one and subsequent one, it has been a little bit of challenge, but we are working towards that. As you all know, ALJA was dead more than 10 years. We are just starting to rebuild it. It's going to take time, but it's going to be done. So we are committed to that process, and we will take this message out to our colleagues who are, playing this, the backsliding, lackadaisical attitude towards the organization, the chapter, to continue to encourage them, to reach out to them so that they can come and be a part of us. So we are working in that direction. So in a nutshell, this report will be formally presented to the national leadership, and this is where we are. We just ask for your patience and your cooperation as we rebuild the Delaware Valley chapter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the point Tito made too. I'm thinking that Mr. Kume had his report ready, so we'll probably have him forward a formal copy of the report to the leadership and I expect the Delaware Valley chapter to do the same also. It's important for our record. So the next item that we should be discussing today is the presentation of ALJA's website. Presentation of ALJA's website. We'll really try to get the video guy to project, the website on the screen. Unfortunately, we could not get him to do that. So I will talk about it, but if any of you want to go to it, it's aljaonline.org, as we talked about it. If you have your phones, it's accessible through all platforms, so aljaonline.org. But it's something that we're really proud of as executives of ALJA, the leadership of ALJA. 2 years ago, when we took over, it was one of the things our members asked us to do, and in this 21st century, you can run an effective organization while having an effective website. So we started looking in terms of what is it that we want to accomplish with our website. So did a bit of research and see if we can, so a similar organization as ALJA, what is it on their website that is positive? What is it on other website that is not on the website? So we were just researching different websites so that ours can truly represent us and reflect some of the things we want to do. So the first thing we talk about doing, I don't know about you, but look is a really great thing. And many of you can tell me, say the first thing that struck you about maybe your wife or your girlfriend was the way they look, right? So the way they look is one thing that gravitated you towards them. So look is important. So the first thing for me was to develop something that was really graphically stunning, that will grab your attention when you see it. For me, if I went to a website, say if I was not intentionally going to that website, I would just browse it. If it's dull, I would just quickly go by. But if it's stunning, if it captures, my imagination, I will stick around and browse a little bit. So the first thing was for us to get something that was really visually stunning. That was the first thing, and I think we accomplished that. The second thing was content. What is it that we want to put on the website? Obviously, it's all about ALJA. It's ALJA's website, so it has to be all about ALJA. So presenting ALJA in a really holistic way. Who we are, our history, our executive committee, our board of directors, our different chapters in terms of the leadership and the different activities. Our press releases need to be archived so that people go there. Whatever press release ALJA has issued in the past has to be there. You will see those different press releases. Highlights of our convention activities. So when we began the mini convention 3 years ago, up to last year's convention, it has to be reflected on the website. So you go there, you will see those. And one of the things that was really unique about what we did, we not only put in pictures there. So most websites these days, they embed pictures in the website itself, so that when you go in there, you can just flip one picture at a time. What we did with our website was to transpose our picture. So if you went to our website and you went to our convention, if you hit convention, it brings up our Google Photos. So you go into it and you see all the photo comes up at once, which is the way most modern websites go right now, as opposed to just manual flipping through one picture. So if you go to, say, if you click 2016 convention last year in Philadelphia, it takes you to our Google photo page and brings out all the pictures. You can click on the one you want. It makes it clearer and it brings the picture out a little bit more. That is something we're doing. So we're also posting our souvenir books. So if you went to so after a week or so, if you went there, you see the souvenir book with all our pictures for this year website posted there. The souvenir book from last year website also posted there. And one of the unique things we did in working with a designer was to do something called Flipbook. I don't know many of you know Flipbook. So if you go to the website, you can literally just flip the page that you're reading. So you can flip one page to the other, flip it from front to the back. We did the same for our Constitution. So if you went to our Constitution, you can read the Constitution from page 1 to the last page. So you don't literally need, so what we're trying to do is put as much information on the website without literally having to pass around with papers in your hands. So one of the things I talked about last night, I wanted to know, But I was talking to the chairman of the Election Commission. We were going back and forth in terms of how much we needed to pay. Then I remembered, but the information is on the website. So I went on the website, just pulled out the information right away, and I was able to figure out, how much we were able to pay. So I think that's a really, really unique feature on the website. One of the things we also done is put a payment button there, a donate button. So that links to our Wells Fargo account. So if you can go right there and you can pay whatever you want to pay, it goes to our account. So you don't have to walk to the bank. If you don't have to, just enter the credit information and it goes to the bank. Hopefully it helps in terms of when we begin to go out there and scout for donors. Those are something we can use. Another unique feature is our membership page. So we created an online membership form. So you can go on there, it's a live form, just fill in the membership information. Once you click send, it comes directly to us, so we know you already filled the membership form. So it helps in terms of updating our membership. You don't have to manually fill in form, which is a hurdle for most people. You don't have to put it in an envelope and put stamp on it and send it all the way to Moses or whoever. You can do that online. Yes. Well, it's a verification process. So you have a telephone number in there, you have all your information in there, we can verify who you are. So we receive the information. If we don't know you at all, some people obviously we know them, but if we don't know you, we can verify who you are by calling you up and having you provide some basic information that we need. Yeah. So we also have our brochure. And unfortunately, we did copies of the brochure that I should have brought, and I was telling Moses some things you do, and you're really excited about it. I was really, really excited about the brochure. It's really stunning in terms of the graphic and the beauty, but it's also on the website, so you can also see that when you go on the website. So that's about ALJA. So we decided we'd do ALJA. So all those contents about ALJA are there. And again, like I said, if you went to the website, you know that there's something we need to change, something we need to improve upon, please let us know. We'll do that. But we're ALJA members and we're also journalists. The goal is not just to make this site for ALJA members, because we want to appeal through all spectrum, through different categories of people. Again, if it's only just ALJA information, it probably be only ALJA members who will go there. So because we're news people, we decided to do some news too. So we will regularly post news stories on the website. We post features, editorials on the website. And I was telling Mr. Patua last night that I had a confession to make. So when we designed the opinion page, I was looking for articles to put on there. So I came across an article he had written about, I think it was the anniversary of Marcus Matthews' death, the 7th anniversary of his death. He wrote a really wonderful piece that I saw. So I took it right away. I was like, this is an item that one thing I can use. I'm sure he will not sue me. So I took it and posted it on the website. So those are things we want to do. So if ALJA members, has information, ALJA members have opinions, editorial, and it doesn't have to be ALJA members alone. We'll go out there, other colleagues, professional colleagues, who, do very good writings. We can be able to use them on our website. So we have ALJA news, we have Liberian news, we have war news, top headlines, we have features, opinions, editorials, and those kinds of things. And then the third thing we decided to do was to do advertisement. So you have the hardcore news people go there to the site, ALJA members go there, but we know where we live, people do a lot of community events. We got a funeral, a big funeral going on in Delaware. Is that something people can post on our page? I know one of the things that TLC is very unique for. People will always put death announcement on TLC. If they don't put death announcement on TLC, then they haven't put it anywhere yet. That's how important TLC is as a news entity. People respect it when it comes to them posting information, because they know people will go there to see, those death announcements. So we want to try something similar. So do some advertisement about events in the community and maybe make some money in the process. So we also have that. We have a number of different advertisements you see running across the screen, as you flip to the website, so that people will go there if they know about upcoming events, they want to find out about upcoming events in the community, in the larger community, they can go to the ALJA website and click on it and see it. So that is that is what we try to do. And again, like I said, please go on the site, and we're still open to, to correction. We're still open to making improvement, but I think it's something that you really be proud of in terms of what we've accomplished so far as an organization here.
A question to you is that, are you thinking about ALJA, like, for example, if I go to ALJA website and you click a link in that and go to the executive mansion in the Republic of Liberia to go to their page, right? Are you thinking about linking ALJA page with all of the Liberian news outlets that are online?
It's already there. So we got links. So we got very great links. Got links.
I think, for example, when I go to Front Page Africa, is there a link from Front Page Africa that can take me to ALJA?
Well, we have to now discuss with our Front Page Africa people. Say, okay, we're posting your link on our site. Is there a way you can post our link on your site, so that when people go to your site? Yeah, that is something we can do. But we got most of the major newspapers. We got the Executive Mansion. We got BBC. We got USCIS, and there's a few relevant, links that we use normally. And so yeah, it's something we can talk to the guys about on our site and say, hey, can you hook up ALJA link on your website so that people can go there and see it.
As it relates to the news content being placed on the website, I'm thinking about, like, for instance, do we have anything like an editorial gift guide? Because we're talking about the integrity of the institution, and we don't want any journalist just go out there and post a story that does not reflect a good journalism. Yeah, because nowadays we see on the website being owned by media institutions, we see a lot of things that people post over there. Most stories are manipulated and are influenced by politicians. So what would be different from ALJA?
Can I please ask you to give the mic? We are live on the radio.
Oh, okay. Yes, sorry. So can you ask the question again, please?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sorry. My name is Akai Wolite. My question basically was about the news content being placed on ALJA website. And I'm more concerned about the integrity of the institution being protected. Because nowadays, journalism is kind of, sorry to say it's a bad word I'm using, but it's kind of messed up. People doing too many things. Do we have anything like a editorial gateway or like a gift guide to go through all of the stories, to examine, to make sure information that are being placed on our website is true? Because we don't want anybody just coming, maybe if you have a politically motivated story or you receive something from a politician to support him, even if it is not true, you're just taking a trade on ALJA website. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So right now, I'm entirely responsible for all the content there. So anything you see there, I'm responsible. But the goal really long term is to have an editorial team. An editorial team that, what we're doing right now, develop the website and then transition it to the editorial team. So hopefully, by the time the convention is over, we would have developed an editorial team that I can just train in terms of, uploading content to the site and just taking over the site entirely, so that we would do that. We've got really good people here, good writers, good editors, people who've been trained over the years, ALJA has them. So hopefully we can rely on the expertise, we had to be able to make sure that the site is, is professional and maintained in terms of the content that go on there. So seriously, we'll do that. Yeah, we will. Let me get to one question, so then we can move on. We have other things to do. Jimmy?
I want to know how you want to get this through your articles.
Oh, sorry.
I wanted to know how you want to get your story articles to you guys for publication.
So if you went on the website, you see contact us, and you see like I just put like a demo editorial page, and you see our email address, aljaonline@gmail.com. Send all those information to our email address. They'll come to us, and then we'll put it on the page. Yeah, just do that. That's the last one, for sure, last one.
Are you thinking about creating an email address, ALJA email address for every member of ALJA, in such a way that, for example, if the national leadership wants to communicate with members through email, they send it to one email, I mean, we have that one to me, then because every one of us got our own ALJA email, then we can receive that. Are you thinking about that? Like, that is the, I think how do you call it? Is that the intranet? Where, you know, where we have internal communication that link with our website.
Yeah, they want something like that.
Yeah, we have one, but the problem there is that it's not linked to the website. We call that listserv. Yeah, but we have not properly utilized it over the years. So I just hope that, based upon your question, we can try to.
Mr. VP, is that the only medium of communication ALJA intend to establish? You want me to repeat my question?
Yeah, no, I don't understand it.
Is it the only means of communication, the only medium of communication we intend to establish for ALJA?
You mean the website?
Yeah. Any other way that we can communicate?
Yes, yeah.
So, that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, let me say this. So I didn't add this there, but on the website, you know, this is an age of social media, right? On the website, you have links to ALJA's Facebook page, you have links to ALJA Twitter account, you have links to ALJA YouTube page. So on the YouTube page, when you go on the YouTube page, you click on our page, it takes you to our YouTube page, you see all our videos displayed. Because we don't want to cloud the video on the website itself, so we're taking it externally. So you just link to the YouTube page, you know, and you can go there, our whole YouTube page, and then you can see that. We got Twitter account, you can go there, and I sent a first tweet out, I just official first tweet out yesterday, and then like I said, we have our Facebook page. So we got all those. The guidance here, we got the listserv, you know, our different email addresses, so there are a lot of other ways we can use to communicate with each other.
Mine is not a question. I think you've done a great presentation here. Can you just give maybe your email? If anybody has any addition, you know, we will sit down here and ask questions the rest of the day. We have to go to the website. So you go up to the website, find out what you can add onto the website, what we can, you know, whatever contribution that we can do to that website, we can always send an email or just, you know, contact you to have that solved.
I agree with you. If you get time, it's fast pen. So like I said, it's an email address there. Just contact us via the email address. But share your critique, share your suggestion, you know, and visit the website. By the way, please like our Facebook page. Like our Facebook page. That way, you know, when you liked it, go to the website and then click on the Facebook page. It'll take you there. Like the Facebook page. The more likes we have, the more, you know, people will like it. So thank you so very much. At this time, I just want to just invite the president himself to come up and present the annual report for 2017. The president.
What's the name? What's the official website again for ALJA?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You know, it seems that my Vice President was reading from a playbook because he captured almost everything I was going to talk about. All right. Mr. Joe Mason, ALJA National Vice President. Mr. J. Wesley Washington, Assistant Minister for Press and Public Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Liberia. Mr. Charles Coffin, President, Press Union of Liberia, PL. The Reverend Suad Dede, former President, PL. Members of the ALJA National Board of Directors. Chairman Alfonso Yuna, and members of the ALJA Accra Elections Commission, heads and members of the ALJA Delaware Valley and Midwest chapters, the ALJA family, delegates and representatives of the local Liberian press corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Kindly rise and join me in observing a moment of silence for all fallen journalists the world over, including Liberians. Thank you. Please have your seats.
Sunday and the business sections of ALJA. He's giving his final time.
In keeping with the details of the ALJA Constitution,
Let's go back to the podium.
it is pleasing to stand before this august body today for the delivery of another annual message on the state of affairs of our beloved association after a year of stewardship. This report promises my 2 years tenure as ALJA National President. And let me just bring in a little bit of humor. Last evening when we assembled for their meet and greet ceremony, I got a contender. My old friend and brother, Mr. Mustafa Ture, threw his hat into the race. Thank you, Mustafa. As National President, I and other members of the ALJA National Administration were elected for a 2-year term on October 17, 2015 in Newcastle, Delaware. And we were elected during the ALJA 2015 annual convention. The ALJA National Administration comprises Mr. Joel Mason, National Vice President, Mr. Guardian Wilson, National Secretary General, Mr. Calvin Johnson, National Assistant Secretary General, Mrs. Melissa Chi Annan, National Treasurer, and myself. We were elected for a 2-year term. Our mandates then were foster companionship amongst the association members, undertake structural developments, and champion the cause of good governance and press freedom through media development in Liberia. In accordance with the ALJA Constitution, our tenure as national officers will technically expire on October 16, 2017. However, because of the change in our convention schedule for this year, the duration of our service expires today, September 16. It means, as of today's date, the tenure for all of the positions at the national level alluded to will expire. To ensure continuity in leadership, I, with the advice and consent of the ALJA Executive Committee, nearly 2 weeks ago, appointed a 5-man Accra Election Commission to conduct elections for our national officers. Mr. Alfonso Yuna chairs the Elections Commission. Other members of the commission are Mrs. Akai Awolente Geldings,
Mr. James Sibley, Mr. Marva Duana, and Mr. Wilmer Caillou. The ALJA Elections Commission is charged with the responsibility of developing electoral guidelines and the execution of the election. I am pleased to report that since its appointment, the Commission has demonstrated efficacy in meeting the attainment of the stated objectives. In keeping with the Commission's guidelines, the election of officers of the ALJA National Administration will be held today, September 16, at this General Assembly. On October 22nd, 2016, the tasks I'm performing now, I also performed similar tasks when we convened in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for our Association Post-Crisis Second Annual National Conference. And I would like to take this time on behalf of the ALJA family to wholeheartedly welcome all of you to Delaware, simply referred to as the First State. Delaware is called the First State because the state was the first of the 13 colonies which participated in the American Revolution. To have ratified the U.S. Constitution on December 7, 1787. And I want to say thanks to all of you for coming. We are profoundly pleased to have you here today, especially our media colleagues who travel from Liberia purposely for this convention. Thank you for honoring our invitations. To our first-time comers, let me also say welcome. We are elated to have you in our midst. Your presence here today means a lot for the attainment of our goals as an organization. To our repeat attendees, I also want to say thank you for keeping ALJA alive despite all of the odds. We deeply appreciate the moral and financial support you continue to give us in the pursuit of ALJA's mission. Since November 2014, when ALJA was resuscitated after 10 years of dormancy as a result of internal squabble. We always met for our national conventions in October of every year. But this year, we are meeting earlier because of change in schedule due to a national cause, Liberia's 2017 election timetable. Because of the relevance of the October 10, 2017 election and ALJA's commitment to the process, we made adjustment in our conference schedule in order to allow local and diaspora-based Liberian journalists who have interest in the coverage of the election to do so without any impediments. And as I deliver this statement, let me just ask you for a moment to digress a little bit. This has to do with bereavement. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we meet today, kindly permit me to go off tangent just for a moment. I am here today with mixed feelings. I am gratified to once again meet and intermingle with media colleagues. I have not met the same for several years. I'm also happy to be here because this gathering provides an opportunity for the establishment and consolidation of professional and personal relationships, otherwise known as networking. However, I am sad. I am indirectly bereaved. Nearly a month ago, my wife's paternal family lost a relative. A distant relative of my wife passed, Mrs. Serino Nono Benson Clark, succumbed to cancer in Delaware. Coincidentally, today is her funeral.
Take courage, Mr. President. Take courage. As the will of the Lord.
You know, as I speak to you, Nono's funeral is taking place in Newark, Delaware. As a family member and an eminent figure in the Delaware Liberian community, my absence from Nono's funeral or final homecoming stands out. It is blatant. However, the prevailing situation is beyond my control. As an organization, we could not postpone or cancel this convention because it was pre-planned several months in advance. Furthermore, the implications for a cancellation or postponement would have been astronomical, even though we sympathize with the situation. Thank you for giving me your ears. Achievements. ALJA has evolved. We have come a long way after 10 years of internal rift. We have made significant strides since November 2014, when we collectively took on the challenge to consolidate the unanimity which subsists among members of the America-based Liberian Press Corps and our colleagues in Liberia, when we took on the responsibility of giving our association a new persona at home and abroad, we knew that the task ahead will be challenging. But with your continued support and the blessing of our Almighty God, I'm pleased to report that ALJA is on a positive trajectory. During the reporting period, 2016-2017, we achieved the following. 1, we secured a non-profit status. We are now a full-fledged non-profit entity that is recognized by the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, of the U.S. government. We have a 501c3 status. Our organization can now begin mobilizing logistical and monetary support for the advancement of journalism in Liberia. ALJA now has its own website. The website was officially launched on Thursday of this week. And I want to say thanks very much to our hard-working and dedicated Vice President, Joe Macy, and his team, who worked around the clock for the fruition of this project. Thanks also to all of those who contributed financially and morally to the attainment of this goal. In this public manner, let me say a big thank you to our colleague and friend, Dr. Alexander Ray, or Alex Ray, of California State, who contributed $500 towards the project. Dr. Ray is the biggest contributor. So you please give me another round of applause. Thank you. With our own website, ALJA will now be able to reach scores of people the world over with its messages and programs. As my Vice President said, we want you to take advantage of the website. All of you here are great writers, communicators. We don't want to run a website that will be dormant. We put so much money into that. Make it active. We will set up an editorial team. People now start lobbying already. Oh, Moses, I can do it. No. We will screen you. And we will screen you, we screen the process, and we look at individuals who are committed. Because this is voluntary work. We don't want an editorial team that you have to call in continuously to update. We want you to be strong and effective like a Vice President. So when we put you on our team, we look up to you. Like Akai said, our credibility will be on the line. If you start taking cartoons and putting in all you want to promote a particular candidate, we will remove you. I will use my authority if you really like me. If you really like me, I will remove that person. Yeah. So let's make the best use of it, Wherever you live, we want to hear from Minnesota. We want to hear from California. We want to hear from Massachusetts. We want to hear from Connecticut. Wherever you live in the Americas, take advantage of this website. Tell us about happenings in your community. You all are good communicators, professional journalists. Put your talents to work. Our third achievement as an organization during the reporting period, we were able to fully constitute the ALJA National Board of Directors. The board has 3 permanent board members. Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Volcano Shelton, and Mr. Sibo Mapoya were elected at the last convention. As per our constitution, they were served for 3 years before going for re-election. So we needed 2 other chapters to give us we needed 2 other board members. So we reached out to the Delaware Valley chapter and the Midwest chapter. The 2 chapters designated 2 fine gentlemen. From the Midwest, we have veteran broadcaster Joe Morris. He represents the Midwest chapter. When you hear Midwest, we're talking about Minnesota. We're talking about Wisconsin. We're talking about Michigan. We're talking about Illinois, North Dakota, South. When you hear about the Delaware Valley, we're talking about New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. So from the Midwest, we have Joe Morris. Delaware Valley, we have our career broadcaster, now a trained theologian, Dr. Zizi Pane. John, I want to say congratulations for accepting to serve on our board. So the board has been fully constituted, and someone asks, what is the responsibility of the board of directors? The board is one of the most powerful organs of ALJA. It has supervisory authority.
Just so we are your bosses.
The board can tell Mr. Sandy, you can't spend our money. And then we'll have the city give justification. So they can monitor, they can supervise. However, it doesn't mean that they can overrule. You know, we can talk. So let me be clear on that. Okay. Yeah, constitutionally. So,
what's the time frame?
The annual report, right? Okay, during the reporting period,
When you got turn factor,
Election Commission talking.
Mr. Ture, I'm still president.
No, you just told that you relinquish your position as
Mr. Ture,
president.
I'm still president. I'm still president, Mr. Ture.
Okay, your honor, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right. One thing that we are also being able to do is that our membership is expanding. When we started this process in 2014, we had less than 50 persons. Our first meeting was held in January 2015 in Delaware. We pulled together 25 journalists. When we met in October, we were able to pull together 50 journalists. Last year when we met, we brought together over 30 journalists. Today you can see that the number we have here, based on the registration we are close to 30. So it means that we are making impact. In total, over the years, people who have demonstrated interest in what we are doing, who have supported us, we have close to 100 persons. So it means that we are touching hearts. That's very important to take note of. We are not retrogressing, we are moving forward. The PL and ALJA relationship, another accomplishment. I want to report to this body that we continue to maintain cordial ties with the PL. As you can see in this room, we have here 4 journalists from Liberia, led by my friend and brother, former co-worker, Mr. Charles Coffey. Mr. Coffey, on behalf of the National Administration, I want to welcome you. Thank you. Mr. Coffey been in the United States a little over 2 weeks now. These people took time off their busy schedule and spent hundreds of dollars to come to the United States. If this thing was fun, they won't come. So it means that we got a good relationship.
President of Liberia, Mr. Charles Coffey, is also here.
We continue to work together on media issues. And just before I say that, let me quickly make mention of the other 3 presidents, even though my vice president talked about it earlier. We have Mr. Blamo Robinson, a former Assistant Director General for News and Radio at the Liberia Broadcasting System, who now works for the LTA as Communications Officer. This is Mr. Robinson's second visit. Number, you just want to stand up, you see, please. Yeah, we also have here with us a representative of the Female Journalists Association, FIJA, in Liberia, Mrs. Lisa Temen, and our friend and brother from Prime Communications Network, Mr. Jutono Colley, Director of News. Is Mr. Colley here? Okay. And to show that we have a good relationship with our colleagues back home, and even at the level of the government, we are blessed. For the second time, we are blessed to have with us Mr. J. Wesley Washington, a career Liberian journalist in our midst. Welcome, Mr. Minister. You are welcome here. Okay. PL and ALJA relationship. As part of our commitment to upholding the principle of press freedom in Liberia, during the period of honor review, we took on the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Mr. Eugene Nambe. In January of this year, Minister Nambe and some of our local colleagues were in a crisis initiated by the minister. He threatened to dismiss Mr. Emmanuel Kepa of the Liberia Broadcasting System because he claimed that Mr. Kepa granted an interview to a member of the opposition. And this incident occurred at the National Legislature. He rained profanity on Mr. Kepa. He did not stop there. He also rained profanity on Mrs. Estella Liberty of Power FM. We got involved. When we heard about it, we worked closely with the PL. We asked for a public apology, and he did. So we want to say thanks to the minister for heeding our request. That's one of those things that we did in helping to maintain the relationship between us and the PL. And we will continue to speak on those critical issues. good governance. Another accomplishment under good governance. ALJA continues to monitor the political situation in Liberia with the purpose of ensuring a safe and stable country. During the reporting period, we issued several press releases that stated the association concerned on critical and political matters that obtained in Liberia. For example, our national leadership had fruitful discussion with key players in the ongoing political process in Liberia. We had audiences with Vice President Joseph Boakai, Presidential Hope for Alexander Cummings of the Alternative National Congress, and Senator Joel Howard Taylor, Vice Presidential Hopeful of the Coalition for Democratic Change, CDC. During those meetings, we stated ALJA's unbending position. We said ALJA has no interest in any of the political parties. Our interest is Liberia. We don't support any of the candidates. All we want is a peaceful and stable Liberia. So we are elevating ALJA to a different level. And we will continue to do those things. ALJA also took a stance on the implementation of the Code of Conduct in Liberia. In July of this year, when the Supreme Court ruled against the National Elections Commission, NEC, of Liberia for enforcing Section 5.1 and 5.2 of the Code of Conduct, which requires political appointees who harbor political ambitions to resign 2 years prior to for appointed position, or 3 years prior to for tenure position. We disagree with the ruling of the Supreme Court. When Harrison Conway and Ambassador Sulanta challenged the Supreme Court, challenged the National Elections Commission, the Supreme Court ruled against the NEC on what it claimed to be procedural error. For example, the court argued that Mr. Kokoya or Chairman Kokoya single-handedly signed the rejection letters for Mr. Conway and Ambassador Sulanta. But one thing the court did not take into consideration is that the act creating the very National Elections Commission designates the chairman as the official spokesman. And guess what? Before the ruling into the Conway and Sulanta case, the very Supreme Court upheld a decision taken by the very National Elections Commission when the commission ruled against Assistant Minister Abu Kamara of the Ministry of Posts and Telecom. They upheld it. When Kamara was denied participation in the process, the Supreme Court came to the defense of the Elections Commission. But when it came to Conway and Ambassador Sulanta, it became a different ballgame. So at the time, our position was that the Supreme Court decision was more political than legal. It opened a floodgate. We had too many violations. Right after the Supreme Court, the court says you must resign 2 years prior to appointment. 5.1, 5.2, if it is a tenure position, 3 years prior to. But right after the Supreme Court ruling on that Thursday, the following Friday, we had a multiplicity of resignations in government. So the ruling by the Supreme Court undermined the efficacy of the Elections Commission. While it is true that the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of justice in Liberia, we support the Supreme Court, we respect the Supreme Court, but we have the right to our opinion, and we clearly articulated that. reconciliation as part of our accomplishment. You know, in 2004 we had serious crisis in ALJA, and it has really been a challenge pulling everybody together. Some of the founding members of ALJA who are in this room can clearly speak to that. My friend and brother Abraham Masale knows the history well. Mr. Gardia Wusin knows the history well. Mr. Joe Batua knows the history well. Mr. Jackson Sito knows the history well. Bo member Volcano Shelton knows the history well. And we just had too many things happening. So as a result, some people decided to just do away with ALJA. And since we took over, some of the guys, we place phone calls to them, they don't return your phone calls. They don't. And, you know, they don't want to be bothered. In 2011, we also had another crisis when we went to Atlanta, Georgia, for the funeral of a fallen colleague, the late Gabriel Golikajo. Mr. Asset Bantu, a founding member, in fact, the man who conceived the idea for ALJA. And I had a little bit of, rough engagement. The rough engagement centered around who would speak at the funeral. You know, when Gabriel passed, we mobilized people from the East Coast. And so when we got to Atlanta, Georgia, all the old hands came around. Oh, Moses, you know, let the senior brother speak. I said, no. The senior brother will not speak. Because I was designated to speak. So, to cut it short, we had two groups. But for the fact that we were dealing with the family and we had prior connections, we prevailed. We spoke at that funeral. And since then, some of our senior brothers decided again to hold back. But I'm happy to report that through the intervention of Mr. Gabriel Williams, Minister Counselor of the Liberian Embassy in Washington, D.C., Mr. Bantu, and the ALJA leadership are beginning to open a new page. It should have been yet. We have planned for him to be here, for him to be recognized. Because all these things we're doing today, I have not been for Asset Bantu, Joe Batua. That's why I was so happy to see Mr. Batua. Look, Mr. Batua, I want to say thank you for coming. Mr. Joseph, thank you for coming. The Colonel Shelton, thank you for coming. All of you who worked over the years in getting ALJA on airfield, Mr. Abraham Mazali, all the contribution over the year, we want to recognize you guys for giving us an organization that will rather stand for press freedom in Liberia, that will put Liberia first. We appreciate you. Thank you. So we are opening a new page. It's just because of work schedule and other things, that's why Mr. Bantu did not come. But I can assure you the next time we assemble, Mr. Bantu will be in our midst. Thank you. That's one of our significant achievements. Now let's look at some of the challenges, like I said. ALJA is a volunteer organization. We fund ALJA out of our personal pockets. And when we're having this event, you hear multiplicity of phone calls. I was talking to somebody from Liberia, and let me make you guys laugh a little bit. We sent an invitation to Liberia, and the gentleman called and asked me, who's going to pay for, in fact, it was to the chairman of the Elections Commission. Who's going to pay for the chairman ticket to come and speak to your congregation? I said, really? I said, well, unfortunately, we don't have money for that. So the expectation is that we get that money start somewhere. You take me out of personal pockets because we love Liberia. That's one of the challenges. So, Mr. President, Mr. Robinson, and the delegation from Liberia, what I want you guys to do for is that when you go back to Liberia, clearly explain to the people what ALJA is about. We don't want no miscommunication. If we send you an invitation, we're clearly stating there, look, these are your responsibilities. You say, yes, I will do it, right? So we don't want it to be a surprise to you. And this is not to say that we're complaining, but I just trying to get a message across that it's a challenge for us to pull these things out because we go into our personal resources. So I want to say thanks to all of my people here for all the investment made over here. Very soon we'll start looking to outsiders to help over all the instruments that we have put in place. That's one of our challenges. Another one, our colleagues right in the United States, the issue of fencing. I don't want to be bothered. But as I always tell them is that we are a community. If you don't come around tomorrow, if something happens, how do you expect us to come around? 2 years ago, we had a situation, somebody who never associated with ALJA had a serious medical procedure. And I looked, my phone rang from Atlanta, Georgia. Somebody called to propose to me, oh, well, you know, talk to your friends so you can raise some money for that person. And my question to the gentleman was, why do I tell these people? This person is right in America. Never associated. Not even the teleconferences. Do I have the audacity to tell these guys that look, you need to get money for this person? It is true that we sympathize with the situation, but we just can't. So that's one of those challenges. Another thing, we gave people tax. People come here, oh, I want to be Secretary General, I want to be President, I want this, I want that. We elect you to offices, and then they don't perform. You call meetings, they don't show up. You assign them tax, they don't do it. But when you do it, then the sort of man wants to do everything. The man is Secretary General, he's Treasurer, he's President, my Vice President. All the tax, we just throw on the man. They got full-time commitment, he has family issues. And people sign up, I want to be this, I want to be that. You assign in tax, look, just send us 2 paragraphs. You call in, they don't even answer your phone. That's one of those things. So I want to appeal to all of you who are here today, that as you come with the intention of contesting for any of the positions here, and I'm not campaigning here, let it come from within. Don't do it for the euphoria. Because you see what people say here, yes, and at the end of the day, it becomes an impediment to getting things done. Let it come from within. Dedicate yourself. Unless we do these things, we'll not get everything done. We will not. See?
Go to sleep.
Yeah. So, with that said, I'm pleased to report to you that despite all of these little things that we had to juggle with, ALJA is on a good foot, or it's on a good footing. The future of this organization is secure, and with your support, we can do better. So thank you, Mr. Vice President, for the opportunity. Thank you for listening. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's again, that's one of those things. We will, unfortunately, our treasurer is not here. Just this morning, I got information from my treasurer that she won't be able to be here, and I don't want to be the one making the financial report. And they say, oh, it's president, it's this, it's that. So the treasurer is not available. We will, at the end of this convention, yes. No, sir. So at the end of this convention, like we are always done, we will send you guys a written report that will clearly articulate how much we raised, how much we spent for the entire period. I could not go into finance because it will be the same one asking me questions. Oh, why are you doing this? What? And I just want to respect the separation, the demarcation of responsibilities. You know, let everybody execute his or her own task. Thank you.
Mr. President, before you leave, I think issue of this kind of nature, I think the treasurer should give you the financial report where you can put it into your finance.
It is I got a text while on my way here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I apologize. I sincerely apologize that we cannot give you our financial report.
But who is the assistant financial secretary?
We do not have one. Thank you.
We need one.
You know, let me say this. I apologize that we cannot give you our financial report today because the treasury is not yet. But we have demonstrated for the past 3 years that we are open, we are transparent. The records speak to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can we give the President a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you for that report. We want to have some remarks now, and we'll begin with the representative from the Female Journalists Association of Liberia, which is Lisa Dan Time. Am I pronouncing it right? Temi.
Yes, you. Our protocol is heard. First of all, I want to say thank you to ALJA for allowing me to be part of this event. And I'm not in a clue with the authority to give an official statement on behalf of future. But thanks for the partnership. We appreciate your great work and contribution in building the media in Liberia and parts of the world. To the President, Mr. Seni, I say thank you very much for the invitation. And I tell you, I will go back and let future know what went on here, and we will start from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We want to call now the President of the Press Union of Liberia, Mr. Charles Coffey, to come up and make brief remarks. I know he will speak this evening too, so.
Mr. National President, Vice President, other officials of ALJA, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Directors, Mr. J. Wesley Washington, Assistant Minister of Public Affairs, Minister of Foreign Affairs, my colleagues from Liberia, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from the Press Union of Liberia, the largest media organization in our country. Continuing our comments, we want to recognize the former president of PUL, Reverend Suwan Dede, and other people who serve in that capacity. The PUL is progressing. As we are aware, the current event is of grave concern to the Union. We are playing a watchdog role. Various mechanisms have been put into place to ensure that the media perform a task that is representative as the media organization. So, over 200 media institutions in Liberia, and many institutions are coming through. The membership is growing now. We have over 500 membership. It will include some of you that will be talking about 700. Yeah, so what we did of late to ensure a professional media institution, we have put into place what we call the National Media Council. That council is the one replacing the Grievance and Ethics Committee that we had before. And it has a composition of academia, the civil society, religious institutions, and the press. that council probe into ethical breaches and other complaints from the public to ensure that our police perform in conformity with journalistic principles and our ethical standards. Despite of these instruments, we continue to experience some reports that we've been dealing with in line with our ethics. And so we are on course. What is our constraints is training. And many of our professional people who have the expertise left the profession to seek other avenues as required. We have new entrants now in the system, but we still maintain people there who are highly professional, but there is a need for training. The PUL lacks the resources adequately to address the growing training needs of these young journalists. So we'll be relying on ALJA to help in that direction, because the economic situation, especially with journalists in our country, is very difficult. Many of the journalists do not have medical benefit. There's no social security. Some of them are ill. We rely on SOS call in some instances to no avail. So we'll be seeking ALJA's help or assistance, so we can explore other avenues to establish this medical form and address the medical needs of our police, especially those critical issues that we need to do abroad. And then those who are also qualified that can have opportunity to come abroad for further studies or any other African countries to have the exposure so as to cope with present day's realities. So it's a difficult situation. The economic situation of journalists in our country is appalling. The salaries are not adequate for them to meet other needs. Media owners also do not have the resources to meet the economic situation in our country, just for the proliferation of radio stations and newspapers. So we believe that ALJA can help us in that direction. There is this press freedom, a significant level of press freedom in our country. As you are aware, we have acceded to the Table Mountain Declaration that compelled African leaders to respect media practitioners, repeal defamation laws. We also have this independent commission. It's a commission for freedom of information that gives journalists the opportunity to seek information from public servants in a 30 days grace period. The former president of PUL, Fremont, is now the chairperson of that commission. And so there is a political will. The president, we have prevailed on the president, as part of these achievements, to repeal laws that are impediment to the growth or development of our media activities in the country, which is the decriminalize free speech, to make that a civil. That bill is before the legislature. We met in Buchanan, we had a discussion with the president, and I asked her that our tenure was going to an end. There was a need that we repeal that law. And she presented that bill to the legislature to decriminalize free speech, making it a civil offense. We talk about sedition, defamation of character against the president. And we are optimistic that the legislature will act on that. And if that is done, then of course the total press freedom we talk about is there. Our role now is to ensure high level of professionalism, because the concern of the legislature and other members of the public is about how do we engage in self-regulatory measures. And that's what we need to do, and ALJA has a role to play in that process. Another bill before the legislature, as progress been made relatively less than 1 year, is to reinforce the passage of the bill to transform the Liberian broadcasting system to a national public broadcaster. And if it is done, the mandate now will be answerable to a board of directors rather than president, and that institution will be non-partisan, independent, credible, and viable entity that will portray the aims, aspirations, and views of the Liberian people void of political interference. So it's still before the legislature, and we have been making progress. So we want to praise all of you for this opportunity. We know ALJA, as we are saying, obviously all of you are members of the President of Liberia. The President is a critical of the formation of ALJA, and many of you who are in the leadership are members of the President. We all work together. We need the help of ALJA, because our policemen I have high regard for all of you. Most of you are situated. We know your performances, we know your actions, your dealings, and your contribution will help us to transform the media landscape of our country in terms of training, people acquiring higher education, capacity building. We do not have laptops. Community radio stations now are making progress. The dissemination of information is across the country. As we speak, the union is engaged with election debates, representative candidates. We have a team now in Lofa. We concluded most of it this week because of our anniversary, week after next. And the debate is ongoing. Inviting the candidates, bringing the electors for them to discuss the platform. How are they going to implement the platform? Most of them are saying they are going to build roads, they're going to build hospitals. We don't know how possible it is, but the question is, how are you going to implement all of these things? The last time we had this presidential debate that all of you monitor is our way as media organization to drive and set an agenda of the country. We're going to train those who want to lead our people. Let us convince the electors of their capability to lead the country. So as media institutions, we are playing our role. And as Moses said, we continue to protect the rights of journalists. Our challenge now is some few media institutions or journalists who are, in most instances, are violating journalistic principles, code of ethics of the union. Sometimes we investigate is due to a lack of training. Some is political manipulation. So the PUA is contemplating on proposing a bill to the legislature that will empower us to license media institution. Because when we suspend your membership, institutional membership, the LTA still maintain you to have the frequency of the Ministry of Information. Then, of course, the level of sanctions we want to institute has limitations. So we are making progress in that direction, and we hope very soon we're going to reach a logical conclusion. But generally, the media is performing a role. We are informing, educating, entertaining, setting the agenda, and making the public to know what those who want to be elected as representatives, president, vice president can do. We have more than 1,000 questions vying for various positions, and there are 75. 73 representative seats, the president, vice president, 75. So those who are vying for these positions must provide a clarity and a clearer picture as how they are going to lead our country. It's a serious situation. We have a role to play. The media can ensure that we have free, fair, and credible elections. If we do not play our social responsibility role, we can bring our country into another situation that will not be good for all of us. But we are trying our best that despite the challenges of reports of ethical breaches, that we are on course, that the media will play a role, there will be free, fair, and transparent elections. We will provide a platform to every candidate the electors will decide. Thank you for this invitation, and we'll have a good day. Yes, sorry. I mean, he's just reminded me, we're trying to build the headquarters. Since 1964, we've been renting. We have a land that was acquired by our predecessors, Passalé time, and we are very in court. When we took over January, we went to court, and that case was resolved. As we speak, we have commenced the construction. The government, through the legislature, has allocated $300,000 United States dollars for the erection of that airport facility. So we intend now to decentralize the leadership. We have coordinators across the country. We've been struggling to rent offices. All our intention is to make sure that we open up the PUL and let create the condition that people will have interest to join the profession rather than people leaving because of bad practices or people being unprofessional. Thank you, and I wish you well.
Let me say this, I know some of you have questions. There will be a discussion period, and you have an opportunity to ask questions to Mr. Coffey during that period of discussion. Right now, we have scheduled the minister counselor to speak. Unfortunately, he's not here, but the highest ranking government official in our midst is the assistant minister of public affairs, the minister of foreign affairs. I see you waving back to me. Chiwell, can you just come say something briefly? You're the highest mayor, so we have to give you a respect, sir. Come here.
Just say hi.
Yeah, good afternoon to all. Quite frankly, I came in a private capacity. Since I was visiting the country, I just thought to kill some time with all former colleagues, long-time friends. So this weekend was kind of free for me because beginning Monday will be quite busy. Madam President arrives here on Monday. She addresses the UN General Assembly on Tuesday, so we'll be quite busy. So this weekend is kind of relaxed. And since they fell within the time I'll be less busy, I thought to just come.
Thank you very much.
And share the weekend with you all. But thanks a lot. I will continue to come as long as
you are in government.
No. Not necessarily. But meeting old colleagues, you know, it builds my spirit. And I'm happy to be here with all of you. And I will continue to come. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, JOS. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what we want to do is change the protocol a little bit. At this moment, we should be going into deliberation, but because it's well into the afternoon and the food is ready and warm, it's 1:30. We'll take a 30-minute lunch break, reconvene at 2 o'clock, do the deliberations, and then get into elections. So we will now take a break for lunch.
Get ready to take a break.
So that's the first section here of the meeting here. We will try as much as possible to talk to some of journalists here. Just see if we can talk to them here and see if we can talk to a few of the delegates that attend this meeting here, this event this year. See whether we can talk to some of those people.
Go eat, people, go eat, go eat.
Okay, folks,
go find food to eat.
Right after we are going to break and we'll be right back.